Hey, now, welcome. You are listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. And we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. All right. You are on the Millionaires Roundtable. We are here together. And let me tell you something. I have something new and exciting. And it is called a house party. Remember back in the day, there are all kind of variations of house parties. There is the house party that we saw in the movie back in the day. Who was that Kid and Play and Tisha Campbell and Martin back when we didn't really know who he was. And then there's the house party in the neighborhood, in the basement, and everybody heard about it. Well, we have a house party right here on the Millionaires Roundtable. And so without further ado, I'm just going to introduce you to my house party guests today. So we have MC Light. MC Light, welcome to the house party here on the Millionaires Roundtable.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lynn. A pleasure to be with you.
Yes. And we also have Dr. Katrina Pullum. We call her Dr. T here on the Millionaires Roundtable at the house party.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I am glad to be here.
And we also have Dr. Vanessa Denzine. She is a retired New York police detective and a real estate, mortgage, insurance, and tax professional extraordinaire, member of the Diamond team of New Wealth University and all of that stuff. Welcome to the house party here on the Millionaires Roundtable, Dr. Vanessa.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I'm welcome to be here.
Yes, so I'm calling this a house party because I want us to get serious about home ownership. And ever since I have been in the business of helping people to be financially free, home ownership has been this kind of thing that maybe it's too far reaching and you got to get your credit right and you got to get your money right. And it's just this daunting thing. Well, I want us to look at this like it's a house party. Now, at a house party, you didn't know who was going to show up. You didn't know how much food was going to be left at the end of the night. But the one thing you knew that you were going to do at a house party is you were going to have a good time. So I just want to take a spin on home ownership. And I want us to think about how we can have a good time. So we're just going to join in together and share our tips and share our experiences. So MC Light, why don't you tell us about your home ownership experiences? What was it like for you when you first started? What would you share with someone who needs to know how to look at home buying as a good time?
Oh, as a good time. Okay, well, you can look at home ownership and the process of purchasing a home as a good time when you are in business with people that know what they're doing. When you are left all alone, and that's pretty much how I purchased my first home, it was a lot of running around. It was a lot of not having the right information. It was me depending on people that did not know me, but more so than that, looked at me as a young individual as if I didn't know what I was doing. So they didn't really teach me much during the process. I do know that I've come far enough to have purchased quite a few properties throughout my life. This last property that I purchased, I believe the developer made it so horribly difficult that it's a wonder why I'm in it. But because I went through, and of course you're my sister and, my confidant, my minister, and the COO of my company and a co-creator and founder of Hip Hop Sisters, you also got me my mortgage. And I saw all of the loops that they were trying to put me through, and so did you. But because you were prepared, we were able to do everything that was necessary, and we went above and beyond. And now I'm here in my home, very happy with a large amount of space and also able to have my mother here with me. So I'm very thankful to have been in business with someone who knew what they were doing.
Wow, that sounds like a house party for real. And Dr. Trina, she's the one that kind of kicked it off. I don't know if she really knows, but she come texting us one day talking about, yeah, we building the house. I was like, huh? I turned out like, wait a minute now, you ain't about to be the only one that's building the house. We all need some new houses around here. Dr. Trina, what was your house party? What was your home buying experience like?
Oh my God. I can concur with Light. Like based on my first time buying a house, how I was stressed and trying to make sure I had everything together, going back and forth, with closing and all of those things. My first experience was very stressful. But this last time, it was smooth sailing. And why is that? Because what I met Lynn Richardson, the mortgage guru, like you prepared me financially for everything that we needed to buy a home this last time, from getting our credit together, being patient, remembering that everything does not happen overnight. I waited like 2 years. My husband and I waited 2 years, worked on our credit, built our credit score up, make sure, the money was in the right places and everywhere, to make sure that when we went to the realtor, we already had we were already had the amount that we actually qualified for. That helped us a lot. But just getting approved, I was like, oh, they're not going to approve us because there's so much you got to go through when you're self-employed. But everything went smooth sailing. I had all my paperwork in order, as you have taught us. My credit score, our credit scores was high, was up there. And when I say, before you knew it, we were approved, we were building, and we were in our house. We got a good interest rate, all of those different things. And we owe all of that to you and the
Well,
good
thank you,
Lord for
thank you.
teaching me to be patient.
Come on now. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We are at the house party here on the Millionaires Roundtable, and we are going to talk through this home ownership process. We are going to make it great. We are going to make it possible, and we are going to do it for you. Because why? The harvest is here. The time is now. It's your season to win.
Lynn Richardson is a celebrity financial coach and founder of the 700 Credit Club. Lynn wants to talk to you about one of the biggest issues that can separate you from your financial freedom, and that's your credit score. Lynn overcame 2 bankruptcies and foreclosure, but with this plan, her score is now over 700, and she's inviting you to join the 700 Credit Club today. Here you'll learn to build your credit and have the financial freedom you dreamed of. For more information about the 700 Credit Club, please visit lynnrichardson.com. Who should you go to for financial advice? Author, TV personality, and celebrity financial coach, Lynn Richardson.
Let's bring in financial expert Lynn Richardson.
My girl, Lynn Richardson.
We have Dr. Lynn Richardson. Good morning.
Financial expert Lynn Richardson.
Lynn knows what's up.
We're joined by financial expert Lynn Richardson, author of Get Your Money Back, Tax Deductions You Never Knew About.
Be at peace with the money that you have, because everybody knows money cannot buy happiness.
To learn more about Lynn Richardson's webinars, books, and online courses, please go to lynnrichardson.com.
Don't turn that dial. We have to take a break. We'll be right back. WVON.
More of the Millionaires Roundtable coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson, and we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and $1 at a time. And that means you.
Yes, we are here on the Millionaires Roundtable, and today we are having a house party. We're going to have so many house parties, and everybody is going to be invited. I am so delighted to be here with MC Light, Dr. T, and Dr. V. Dr. Vanessa, you are here with us on the roundtable. So first, I want you to tell us about your book series that you've written, and then I want you to tell us, because you own real estate everywhere. Like you are what we are all growing up to try to become. But tell us first about your book and then talk to us about the home buying process for you.
Okay, great. I decided last year to I had a webinar. It was a 3-hour webinar, and I wanted to name it Get Your Financial House in Order. So I said, all this information in the 3-hour webinar, I could put in the book. So what I did is that I created a 4-book series called Get Your Financial House in Order. And what that book does is just take individuals through 6 decades, transition in the 20s, leverage in the 30s, explore in the 40s, thrive in the 50s, stabilize in the 60s, and celebrate in the 70s. And it builds that tier from the foundation to the basement, the first floor, the second floor, the windows, and then the roof. And it transfers that key over in that last generation. So in that book, it was important for me to not just talk about those transitional factors and those layers of the house, but also to talk about the wealth gap. I talk about the mindset shift. I talk about what keeps us stagnant. And these are things that's get people in a mindset to think about why they're in predicaments that they're in, how can they get out of these predicaments, how can they maximize their money, how they can get to that level of building generational wealth and leaving that legacy.
Yes, yes, I love that. And I love how you talk about get your financial house in order. And I remember when I first did my first initiative with the Hip Hop Summit Action Network, it was called Get Your House Right. And it meant get your house the right way, because at the time there were all kind of predatory loans. But it also meant get your house right, meaning get all your stuff together. Okay, get your life together, get your mind together, get your budget together, and looking at what you just, or listening to what you just said about all from the basement to the roof and getting it together. And we can do this in a fun way. But also, Dr. Vanessa, tell us, because you've bought several homes and you also have recently started like a real estate investment experience. And, sometimes when you go out to buy real estate, it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. And I love what your approach has been. Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. I first bought my home at the age of 21. So I was in that small percentile group of individuals who own homes. But back then, I echo what Light said. I really didn't know what was going on. Everything sounds good. Everything sounds affordable. And I was like, just ready, roll. But during that time, it was some ups and downs and challenges and some things that I didn't know then that I know today. So some financial issues that went back, that was caught up in back then, but I was able to kind of like overcome those things and be able to look forward. So it then, as time went on, I was able to learn more about real estate and was able to kind of like purchase a second home, purchase an investment property. But now my new adventure for the real estate investment experience is really with you, Dr. Lynn, and hopefully kind of getting connected to things internationally. There's a lot of rules of homeownership today that I didn't know yesterday, which I did. So I owe everything to you in terms of the knowledge, really getting people to the table to understand the dynamics of homeownership and the importance of it. And it's one of the main streams of building a legacy and leveraging your wealth with real estate. Learning about mortgages, I understand now the difference between these predatory lenders, more focus on redlining and these things that's been historically impacting marginalized communities, and being more financially responsible. And I understand that the banking system have certain rules, percentages of what they feel people can afford. But I like your systematic approach, where that is not what the bank, but you shouldn't be just going by what the bank feel you can afford, but what you can actually afford. So that is what I kind of bring to the table, building, teaching people and building them up, and at least with the confidence, and bring them to the table where they can be confidently ingrained and build a generation wealth and leaving a legacy.
I love it. I love it. Yes. I don't believe in going with what the bank tells you. I believe that you should go with what your budget tells you. 1 + 1 = 2. If your stuff adds up to 10, it will never fit in. So the bank might tell you you can afford a house up to $400,000, with a $3,000 mortgage payment, but you might have golf lessons and ballet lessons and private school for your kids and all these other things that you have to really take a look at. How much do you want to spend on that mortgage every single month? So when you work with our team, yes, we are actually looking to help you truly build wealth. Light, your story is just so fascinating to me because you have used real estate literally to climb the wealth ladder. You bought one house, and then when you had the equity in that house, you sold that one, and then you were able to get another one. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, the wonderful thing about real estate is it can really serve the purpose of what it is that you just said. Especially being in the business that I'm in, there's lots of ebbs and flows. And for those that don't know, you'll have, 1 or 2 years where the money is coming in, coming in, coming in. And until you go out and record a new record and go back out on the road and sell a whole lot of music, you have these valleys and these peaks. And so for me, the valleys were somewhat, not steep because I had the real estate to depend on. And I think the largest disservice right now that's happening throughout this country, I don't know about other countries, but they are prepping our young people to be okay without owning things. It's like, don't own a vehicle, don't own a house, don't own, just borrow and use other people's stuff and pay them to use it. And I think that's a huge disservice. I think there is wealth and the potential for financial growth with home ownership. And so, yeah, for me, it meant everything. I think my life would be very different if I didn't buy that first home when I was 21 years old.
Wow, you were 21 also. Wow. Yeah, I bought my first home I think we got our first home in 97. So I think I was 25 going on 26. So yeah, to buy a house at the age of 21, what's so interesting, and you all know I have 3 beautiful daughters, all college educated, and they're all looking at me like, you were doing all of this in your 20s? They don't even want to be adults, really. They're like, it comes with too many responsibilities: light bill, gas bill, telephone bill, cell phone, car insurance, all of these things.
Mhm.
And you all were buying homes at the age of 21. It is absolutely amazing. But yeah, we got to talk more about this ownership thing because I think people are tired. They're frustrated. There's COVID brain, there's post-COVID, depression, there's all these things. But guess what? The harvest is here. The time is now. And it is our season to win. And we're going to do just that.
Don't turn that dial. We have to take a break. We'll be right back. WVON.
More of the Millionaires Roundtable coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson, and we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you.
You're here on the Millionaires Roundtable, and I am with MC Light, Dr. T, Dr. V, and it is a house party today. We're talking about home ownership. So Dr. T, tell us about your experience, because you always remind me of where you were when we first met. And it was at the wealth experience. And you said that I was talking about, the things that we have to do, living by the 10, 10, 30, 50, and the importance of, making certain choices over buying purses and things like that. And tell us about that, because you told me you came to the wealth experience with one thing in mind, but you left with something else in mind.
Look, let me tell you, I came to the wealth experience. I had told my husband, I was like, I'm gonna have my red bottoms when I get back, all of that. So I was in a mind frame. I thought I had it all together. I thought I knew I was just spending money just to be spending money, buying things, all of that. So when I came to the wealth experience, first of all, I came to support someone. So I did not know what I was walking into. But when I got in the room from the time, it was just an aura, it was just a presence where I felt a shift change. And so as I began to go to sessions, because I was like, I'm not going to all these sessions I'm in Miami. I'm going hang on the beach, all of that. But from the time I hit my first session, I don't think the beach ever saw me because that is just how much I was into each session, like the word that you were teaching, about our finances and what we needed to do. It was a life-changing experience for me. I began to think totally different about my money. I began to go back home and just analyze everything. Like, why are we spending money on this? Why are we doing that? Does my purse cost more than the money that I have in the bank? All of those things. So it was a total, um, I had to totally shift my mindset. And each year, it got better and better. And still to this day, in the back of my head, any financial decision I make or any decision that I make, yes, you're the financial expert, but you are also the life expert to me because you teach us everything from wisdom, to the spiritual component to things about life. I don't want to bring it up, but you got on me because my son had a driver's license for a year and I would never let him drive. So it's just, you know, I'm just saying, yes, it's just all of those things. And so just going through, you teach us if you got $5, she gonna teach you how to make 10. So, just beginning to change my mindset and focus on, building wealth with my family, getting my finances in order. Like I just look at everything just different now. And I remember telling you, when my husband and I met you out, we never knew what we were walking into. We were like, we're just here to serve. And I told you after that first experience with you, I was like, you stuck with us. And it's been like that ever since because you don't know how much of an impact you have made on our family from the kids on down the impact you have
Wow.
made. What would Lynn Richardson do? What
Oh
would
my
she
goodness.
say? Those different things. Like my son is in college now and he's like, you got to send me my money. I say, well, how much work did you do? I worked this week, so you need to send me my money. So it's just all of those different things. And we appreciate you and, we value the time that you have invested in us as well.
Well, I can tell you, I definitely saw the difference. I saw the shift. And when you were ready to buy your house, yes, you really didn't need me. And that's what I want. I want people to get enough education, get enough training, implement the principles for yourselves. And then when it's time to make a decision, you kind of know what to do. And it was just such a pleasure knowing your story and then watching you walk into this home ownership process with such ease. It was awesome. There's a big deal in Hollywood, and we're going to talk about some things that are happening in the headlines and so on and so forth. But I am finding so many people who are in Hollywood or in the entertainment business who can't buy a home. And you have certainly bought multiple homes. And, this wealth thing is not just for people who don't make it, it's also for people who do. So we know that the harvest is here, the time is now, it's our season to win.
Hi, I'm financial expert Lynn Richardson. You may have seen me on Good Morning America, The Steve Harvey Show, or Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. Guess what? Did you know you can get your money back if you hire your kids? You can get your money back if you go out to eat? You can get your money back if you go on a vacation. Well, guess what? In my book, Get Your Money Back, Tax Deductions You Never Know About, I'm going to teach you how you can get your money back with your home-based business legally, ethically, and all with the permission of the IRS. Just go to asklynn.org.
Yes, we are on the Millionaires Roundtable, of course, and it is a house party. And MC Light, Dr. T, Dr. V are here with me today, and we're sharing home ownership stories. Before the break, Light, you said something so important. I remember watching a very important, it was a stock market tip, basically. If I had not watched this video, I would never have known about NVIDIA. And I would never have gotten all of the massive returns I've been able to get from NVIDIA. But during this episode of this stock tip that I was watching, they talked about how, when all the cars go to electric cars, automation, that they don't want people owning cars. You'll just have a subscription. You'll order it like Uber now, or Instacart or whatever. People, they will come and take you where you want to go, and you don't need to own a car. And that car ownership will only be for the very wealthy or in the suburbs. Like, there won't even be places to park. So they're talking about changing the whole infrastructure of the world.
Yeah.
Wow. That feels like the Jetsons. Back in the Jetsons. Remember we used to watch the Jetsons? That's what that feel like. But I don't know if I would be ready for that, because I can't even ride in a Tesla with it driving me. That's scary to me. I gotta have some type of control. I don't know if I could let a car drive me.
First of all, I'm not letting a car with no human drive me nowhere. Okay? Because who is controlling the car?
Right.
And depending on who I might have pissed off that week, somebody might be controlling the car, and I might end up who knows where. So first of all, you're not picking me up with a hoodless, no human in the driver's seat. I'm just not doing it.
And all these hacks and people hacking in computers here, who knows what that car gonna carry you?
Listen.
Come up missing.
Listen. And I'm not buying no car that can drive itself, because if I don't make the payment that month, you go outside, your car is back at the dealer.
Sure. Yeah.
Your car is back at the dealer. So you made such a good point about that. Like, we do have to start teaching and preaching ownership. And so what we're doing in my household is we have decided first Friday, where everybody's getting together, everybody's coming over. So I'm just telling you this now, so you didn't miss out. You'll be invited too. But everybody, all my daughters, Antoine, Takesha, husband, everybody, whoever wants to come over, we're gonna sit, we're gonna have a meal. And the first Fridays is gonna be 3 M's: meals, money, and ministry. So we're gonna pray that we're gonna get our word in for the week, but we're gonna talk about money and estate planning, and all these things that we are missing and we don't get an opportunity to talk about.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You're gonna get it in for the month, not just for the week, but for the month, since you're doing it every first Friday.
Yes.
And that's really good, because we, as an African American culture, we don't get together and sit down and talk about estate planning. We don't talk about our future. We don't talk about building wealth. So with you doing that, that's really amazing. Because I know in other cultures, this is what they do. They get together, they work together, and they build wealth. So this is something, especially for the audience out there, it's never too late, no matter how old you are, for you to start doing things like this too. Even if some of your family may not understand, you start with the one and fellowship with them and begin to build wealth.
Absolutely.
That's right. You're here on the Millionaires Roundtable. The harvest is here. The time is now. It is your season to win. We are having a house party here on the Millionaires Roundtable. MC Light, Dr. T, Dr. V are here with me. Dr. Vanessa has written an awesome series of books, and I want you to go to asklyn.org and make sure you get them. Everybody here has done something that can help you empower your life and get to the next level. But I want to talk about a little bit, like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening. And one of the big things I'm finding is that the people in the industry are having difficulty achieving home ownership. How did you stay connected? Of course, yes, with me, but are the times just different? Is the money flowing different? Are people in entertainment not making as much money? Like, what is the deal here?
I think it is, the times are different. And I think people in entertainment are making more money than they were making back in the days when I bought my first house at 21. And I think to the degree that they are able to really put significant deposits down on their homes, or they're just buying their homes outright because it's just too difficult for them to get mortgages. They are not respected at all for having the money and having worked for the money that they have. And so if they're not connected to someone that knows the ins and outs of what to put on these applications, although, it's all the truth, it's still a way in which it needs to be presented to have it go through smoothly and not hit a bunch of jagged edges, and then all of a sudden the opportunity has been pulled from you.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, being prepared. And so, whenever we get to the process where we say, okay, we want to buy a house, that process starts a year in advance, sometimes a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. And I don't think people realize that what you do, if you want to buy a house in 2025, then what you did in 2023 could significantly impact that in a positive or a negative way. And so in your book, Dr. Vanessa, you really, really start to teach people those things that they need to do to get their house in order, to get themselves ready to buy a home and to be successful in it.
Absolutely. And the book has various different stages depending on where people are in their life. And it's one of the things that how they can prepare themselves getting a home, saving money, like you have taught us, Dr. Lynn, spend less money, get more money, learn how to get your money back and learn how to leverage those tax benefits. A lot of people I find is not sure really what they do with their money. The more they receive, the more they want to spend. And they're not really looking at the long-term benefit of home ownership. So I try to get them in a mindset to think about they can maximize the money so they can have a legacy, how they can have the ideal home, how they can maximize those tax deductions. And it's sometimes like a hard pill to swallow because they really just don't know.
Yep. And I tell people, listen, you can have it all, just not at the same time.
Absolutely.
So in the beginning, you're going to have to sacrifice, but when you make that sacrifice, you're going to be so happy that you did. You're not even going to want to go back to the other stuff because the harvest is here. The time is now. It's your season to win.
More of the Millionaires Roundtable coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson, and we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you.
Yes, we are having a house party here on the Millionaires Roundtable, and this has been such a great time of just talking, reminiscing. But we want to start to put some really good tips in place. MC Light, someone wants to buy a home. Is your best advice? What would you say is the best piece of advice you can give to them?
Well, I mean, you want to educate yourself, and I would say to meet with several different mortgage brokers. And when you're really ready, come to New Wealth University, where you can get an education about what it's going to really take to land it. Because honestly, we are grown and we got too many other things going on to get hung up in not doing it properly the first time. So I would say to get yourself educated and to log on to newwealthuniversity.net and get your info.
I love it. I love it. Dr. Katrina, what would you say? What's your best advice, having bought a house at a young age and then being more prepared this last time?
What I would say is evaluate your finances. Make sure you're paying your credit card bills on time or any bills that you have. As a matter of fact, if you pay them before time, that will really help with your credit score. Try not to be late at all. And then do some research on what your debt to income ratio is. And make sure you keep your income stable or at least increasing yearly, and that will help prepare you for your home buying experience. But the main thing is be patient as you prepare yourself through all of this. Be patient, and remember that everything does not happen overnight.
I love it. I love it. And Dr. Vanessa, what's your best advice?
I guess my best advice would be don't jump to the first opportunity. Sometimes people jump out the frying pan to the fire and they think it's a going to win be all. It may sound good, but it may not always be good. I would say focus on a multi-unit. Sometimes people want to get that one family, but that multi-unit is best, the best experience they can have. Get the multi-unit first, let it pay for itself, let it pay for your rent, then you rent your unit out and you can go get your ideal home. And I would also say that look at real estate home ownership as a way to leave a legacy. Homes over the years appreciate. You can return, remove the equity, purchase another unit, whether it's a rental or second home, but look at it as a legacy of what you can leave for your children.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me tell y'all, we're going to have more house parties. We're going to have tips. There are things that are happening in the marketplace. There are things that are happening in the headlines. There are things that are happening. Interest rates, they're going down, but even if they don't go down, it's okay, because you need to go on and buy that house if you are able to, if you can afford it, if you've got the credit, go on and buy the house, because even if the interest rates are 7%, the interest rate on your rent is 10,000%. Like, you'll never get that back. And by going on and buying a home, then you are now also building equity. So you don't want to rent and not have any equity. And right now, it's about building your legacy. It is about doing it one step at a time. And it is about being patient and knowing that you can win, because the harvest is here, the time is now, and it is your season to win.
I'm financial expert Lynn Richardson. You may have seen me on Good Morning America giving financial advice. When you get my freedom package, you get the 21 days to financial freedom and how to start a home-based business. See you in class.
The Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And I want us to get this home ownership thing right. Let me tell you something that is breaking my heart right now. I know too many people who own homes, have passed on, and now their heirs are living in the home and can't do anything with it because there was no will, there was no trust. If you own a home, everybody who's listening to me, if you own a home, I want you to make sure you go and place the deed to that home in a trust. If you pass on with just a will and it's not in a trust, you still have to go through probate. Your heirs will have to go through probate. And I know too many people, I'm still living in the house, I'm paying the bills. So what? That doesn't mean anything. So if you're still living in the house, Big Mama's house, your ex-husband's house, whoever's house it is, you still living there paying the bills, you have no more rights than if you weren't paying the bills. Because the truth is, if you're going to live somewhere, you have to pay the bills to live there. So I want you to get in the business of understanding what it is that you need to not just get the wealth, but to pass it on to the next generation. We have got to put ourselves in position to win. We have got to put ourselves in position to be able to reap the benefits of that which we work so hard for. And I know too many people right now who have worked so hard to build wealth, buy that home, and then the inevitable happens because everybody's going to leave here at some point, but the affairs are not in order. If you do not know what to do, you need to contact my office. You need to reach out to me. I've got several attorneys, Attorney Deidre Wood-Stokes. I've got folks who can help you go through the steps. I'm also going to say, if you buy a house, start the process of putting in the trust in the trust at the closing. Don't even leave the closing. Set up the trust, and after the deed is recorded in your county, that usually takes 5-6 days, usually less than a week. Then you're getting the process going so you don't have to think about it. Okay? I don't want you to have to think about this. I don't want this to be a burden to you. I don't want this to be something that everybody has to worry about. There are some things that we know we need other people to do, but there are many things we can do ourselves. The Bible says that the meek shall inherit the land and enjoy peace. So peace.
You have been listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. I want you to follow me on social media at Lynn Richardson. Follow this show at Lynn Millionaire. Go and get help at asklynn.org because I want to help you take it to the next level. Guess what? I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.